Hello everyone, how are we doing tonight? I hope we're all having a really good day. I'm coming to you tonight, and our topic is about asking your body what it needs. Did you know that we can actually talk to your body and it will respond in a way and give you an idea of what help it needs? So, just so everyone knows, I'm a master herbalist. I'm a certified nutritional consultant. I'm trained as a classical naturopath, but I am not a medical doctor. So you can't take any of the information that I say as medical advice. I also do not intend to imply that I treat, prevent, or cure any disease. That is for the medical field. So tonight we're going to be talking about two of my favorite assessment techniques. These are things that I use with all of my clients. One of them I'm a little bit more new to than the other. But so iTOVi. This is one I have been using for a little over a year now, and I wanted to talk about iTOVi and kind of demonstrate how it works and what kind of information we get from it. So I was just going to pull up the app here on my other device because I've got a computer, I've got a cell phone, and I've got a tablet. How many more devices do we need? So just to illustrate the length of time and how it works, there's a little handheld scanner. It has two kind of electrodes on there. We just put that in the palm of the hand. They just have to be touching the skin. And then I'm going to start a scan on me. You don't need to see this other screen yet. So I start a scan. And this just buzzes as it connects Bluetoothly. Welcome, Sonia, you made it. Hooray! This just connects Bluetoothly to the tablet, and then it buzzes as it's starting the scan. It takes about 2 minutes. So what it's doing as it's doing the scan, so it utilizes a lot of technology. We've got a bit of some fancy words here, being bioimpedance, pressure sensor, temperature, and Bluetooth technology. So those are all being utilized by that little scanner. So talking about frequency. So first off, one way you can kind of understand this technology, if you've had this done before, you might have gone to a naturopath. My first experience with muscle response testing was actually at a chiropractor. I was 5 or 6 years old. He had us lie down on a table and we held our arm out straight and he was allergy testing us. So he would put a substance, whatever he was testing us for, wheat, sugar, eggs. He'd put a powder of that in our mouth. As we're laying down, he would press on our arm. And if we were able to keep our arm upright, if it was nice and strong, it meant that that substance wasn't an allergen for us, that it was actually good for our bodies. If our arms dropped, we weren't able to keep them up, then he knew it was an allergen, something that we should avoid. In the same way, the little iTOVi scanner is it's talking to our body like that. It has the frequency. So going back to the frequency, we all have a frequency. Our body has a frequency. We want it flowing, working together, working properly, being nice and strong. And everything around us has its own frequency, whether it's an animal, it could be an herb, plants, vitamins, minerals, even color has its own frequency, which is why you can utilize color therapy, and gemstones have their own frequency. So you can do some powerful therapy with gemstones as well. And essential oils, they have their own frequency. So when those frequencies are being introduced to our body, we put them into our electrical field. Yes, I know I was talking about our frequency field. We're also electrical. Our body runs off of electricity. That's why when your heart stops, they use electricity to bring it back. So when we introduce something into our frequency, our body has a measurable response to it, and it can be positive or negative. So if it's positive, that means it's building up our body, it's strengthening it. And if it's negative, it might mean that we don't need that thing, or we just don't need that thing right now. It might be more beneficial later down the road. So my little iTOVi scanner has the frequency of all of Nature Sunshine's products. They have over 500 different products between protein powders, cleanses, vitamins, minerals, herbs, herbal blends, essential oils. Those are some of the main ones that would be in there. And what it's doing in that 2 minutes, it's actually presenting your body with the frequency of each one, and it's seeing how your body responds. And then it presents it the next one. How does it respond? And it would take a natural health practitioner or a chiropractor, I estimated like 8 hours to go through and do that with every single product. But the iTOVi itself can do that in just 2 minutes. So then talking about bioimpedance, this is something, if you went to a gym, they might have a handheld scanner, or some of our fancy scales now use bioimpedance to measure body fat. And it's just a very mild electrical current that's sent through the body, and the speed at which it goes through kind of tells us a lot of what's going on because of our body's resistance or lack of resistance to that frequency or electricity that we have presented it with. And again, there's a measurable response to that. This electric current, now electricity is scary. Anytime my husband's doing anything electrical, he goes to the breaker box and completely just turns off the electricity. But the electricity in this little device is so safe that it's all right if you're pregnant to use it. You can use it on babies. You can use it somebody that has a pacemaker. Now, most bioimpedance devices should not be used with someone that has a pacemaker, such as the Inform metabolic scale that we use is not to be used with pacemakers, but we can still utilize the iTOVi scanner with them. So the bioimpedance is actually utilizing our body's autonomic nervous system and presenting it with the information and getting the response from it. This autonomic nervous system is the command center for our body and is connected to every other part of the body. So it's talking to our autonomic nervous system, that's talking to the rest of our body, and we get a response back. That response can come about in many different ways, and it can be something like a change in our blood pressure, a change in our pulse, our blood flow. It can be a change in our skin or body temperature, a change in the way that we're breathing. Our eyes might dilate. Our skin, we might sweat or have more moisture. So all of those things are being taken into consideration when we do this iTOVi scan. And again, with Nature Sunshine, there's 500 different products that is being, so it's over 500 different frequencies being sent to your body, one after another, and this little device is recording that response and measuring it, and then it's actually going to rank for us in order of importance the products that it thinks is most helpful. So here's a recent scan, and if I scroll up, so there's that first item is Lobelia Essence, and we can see that it's got a silver star around it. It says ding, 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 ding. This is the number one product for me at this point in time. And that's going to change as my body changes. So all of that information, all of the responses to the different frequencies are going to be put into a complex algorithm. Basically, that means it's really advanced mathematics that's going to drive the average person crazy if we had to sit down and try to do it with a pen and paper. But thankfully, the iTOVi technology is going to, it knows the algorithm, and it's going to translate all of that information to us in just that simple, easy to read, this is your top one, this is your next important, this is your next important. And then we're presented with that information in an easy to read way. So utilizing the top products that it's recommended for you, those are going to be the ones your body is going to have the most positive response to. They're going to have the most benefit for restoring your body's frequency to its natural harmony. That's where our frequencies get out of balance. We are affected, our frequencies are affected by everything that we eat. So if we're eating too much bad food, we're throwing our frequency off, and it's vibrating differently than it should be, and that can translate to dysfunction and disease in the body, lack of energy, all sorts of problems. So then it's my job as the health professional to walk through that information that the iTOVi scanner has just given us with each of my clients. I like to do 3 different scans. So the first scan I'll do is just an overall scan. I want to know the top 7 products out of all 500 and work from there. And the next scan I'll do will be for just the Chinese blends. And then the third one I'll do is for the flower essences. So each scan is telling me different things. I'm going to look really closely at that first one because I want to know what's going on in the body. So that's where I don't need to work with you and know your diseases, your diagnoses. You don't need any health labels when you're working with a natural health practitioner. I actually get really frustrated by people that wear their health labels. I was at Winco the other day and passed this lady that her shirt said that fibromyalgia was trying to kick her butt, and the rest of it was covered up by her coat, and I couldn't read it. But it's like, why do we want to put that on and carry that around? Because we're giving that disease a foothold in our bodies. So a natural health professional is going to work with you with your symptoms. I need to know that you have muscle pain. Where is it? How often is it? What does it feel like? That's much more helpful and important to me than you coming and telling me, oh, I've been diagnosed with fibromyalgia. So I need to know your symptoms. And so then as I go through the products that we just scanned your body for, I can look and see what they're traditionally used for. I can look through the herbs that are in there because sometimes it might not be what that blend is traditionally used for that your body needs it for. But if I look through the individual herbs and I know what they do to the body, and I have a conversation with my client and be like, well, are you experiencing this symptom? What about this one? Then I can kind of see which of the items are most important. The Chinese blends, I do a specific scan just for those. The Chinese health system is made up of 5 different elements that are different constitutional types. There's wood, fire, water, metal, and earth. And each element or constitutional type has certain personality characteristics that go with it. They're going to be prone to, within their category, to the same physical issues as other people with that element. And we're normally, because we're never in perfect balance, so we're generally either have an excess of our element or we are deficient in that element. So when I'm working with the Chinese herbs, they're such a well-rounded, balanced blend of herbs that can work on your constitutional type, that we're helping not only your physical issues, but emotional issues as well. And emotional issues can actually cause quite a lot of our dis-eases and just lead to long-term chronic problems. So that's where I'm working on both, I feel like, the root and the symptoms at the same time. I am going to post a couple of assessment quizzes that you can take if you want an idea of what element you are the most out of balance in. There is a Chinese constitutional assessment quiz. I'm going to post a link for that. And then there's a flower essence quiz as well that will let you know, give you a good general idea without having to do an iTOVi scan, which flower essence would be best for you. Now, flower essences really work on our emotional frequencies. They do, especially like distress remedy is one that's helpful for both emotional and physical, because it's really helpful to have on hand if you're around somebody that's going through shock or trauma, that's just been in an accident. You can apply it to bruises and minor wounds. Distress remedy is really great for that. But all of the flower essences are working on the emotional level. So when I have clients, there's a lot of different ones. We're going to either have suppressed issues or we're going to have venting issues. So somebody that vents a lot, you know, that angry person that has road rage, there's a flower essence for that. That person that suppresses themselves, their needs for the needs of others, and lets people walk all over them, there's a flower essence for that. So I do recommend, when you find the flower essence that is most helpful for you, that you're going to go through about a bottle a month, and I would recommend staying on that flower essence for about 3 months. So I'll post those links in the comments and the description of this video once we're finished, and you can take those yourself. When you're finished with the Chinese element one, you'll probably have to shoot me a private message and ask, no, I think it does tell you which element, but if you want to know which of the Nature Sunshine Herbal Blends is for the results of your flower essence or your Chinese constitutional quiz, you'll have to ask me about that one. So an iTOVi scan can be done as often as every 2 weeks. Most of my clients come in once a month for an iTOVi scan, or as long in between as every 3 months. And really, when I'm working with a client one-on-one, I'm not going to change a lot of their program that first 3 months, because we really need to give what we started time to work. And 3 months is a really good rule of thumb for that. So each time that I meet with the client, I'm going to do a new iTOVi scan. We're going to discuss the products that come up. We're going to talk about what issues they're still dealing with, what issues they need help with, what hasn't been working the past month with their supplement plan. Sometimes there needs to be a little tweaking that happens with that. So initially, the first 3 to 6 months that I'm working with a client, I'd like to see them monthly. And by about the 6 to 9 month marker, we should have gotten a lot of their symptoms resolved to the point that we're entering a little bit more of a maintenance, and then I would expect to see them every 3 months. There are people that might like to have the iTOVi scanner and scan it every few days or once a week to give them an idea of which essential oil, kind of do like, what's my oil of the day? which you can do, but it's still helpful to work with that oil on a long-term basis and give it a few weeks to really get in and help change and affect your frequency. Another cool thing is if I do a back-to-back scan of the same person, it's going to give me different products. There's a reason for this. First off, this is a new thing that they just changed in the past year that makes it better for us. So some people want to know if the results are duplicable. They actually used to be, but they're not anymore because it's going to give us new information, which is helpful for me if I look at the first 7 products and it's like, well, I want to know more about what's going on in this person, and I run another scan. It's going to give me 7 more new products, and it's kind of to me like peeling the layers off of an onion. I want to see, delve deeper, get in there. So that is something is new and is really helpful. Now the iTOVi is available to people, just the general public. If you want to, Monica's sending me some love right now. Thanks, Monica. Lots of thumbs ups from her. You can use this scanner at home. It is available for general purpose. You can buy it outright, or there's a monthly fee that you can pay, and as you refer people, your monthly fee goes down. So if you want to be able to use this with family, friends, take it traveling, I do have a referral link for that. Or if you want to work with me and you live clear across the country, it could be helpful for you to have one of these. I do recommend working with a natural health professional, even if you have the iTOVi scanner, because you need to be smarter than the scanner. For instance, and I've had this come up before, where I've had a client who wasn't sleeping well, they've got low energy, they're really burnt out, and a supplement came up for them that was a metabolism booster, and it had caffeine in them. I know, because this client is tired and run down and has low energy, that we need to rebuild their adrenals and help things replenish in their body, and that caffeine is a stimulant and is just going to tire those out even more. So I wouldn't recommend that to that client now, even if it was the top item on their list. I would wait until we had some rebuilding, until we had some energy going, some fire that we could work with. So that's about all I have to say about iTOVi. We're going to move on and touch on just briefly, I don't have a lot of explaining to do about iridology, but just a few key points to mention is: 1, your irises, or you might also hear them called irides by some people in iridology, they're unique to you. They're actually more unique to you than your fingerprints. One of my books about iridology said that they offer a 10 times greater security of identification than your fingerprints. So that's pretty crazy. Just so you come in, and I just have a magnifying glass and a little cute little optometrist flashlight, and I can look into your eyes, study the different layers. Every organ in your body is represented and has a place on your iris. There are 4 main constitutional types that are represented in the iris. So there's going to be different patterns. Some people might have fibers going out like a sun. Some people might have like these leaflet shapes in their eyes. Those are all different constitutional types. And each main constitutional type has a tendency towards certain personalities, certain deficiencies, certain weaknesses. So we've got, just by learning the constitutional type, we've got some basic plan that we can start with. And then from there, we look at the little details in there. We look at the specific little organs. We look for abnormalities, for different colored spots, toxicity, Even your stomach acid is represented in your eye. So we can know if your stomach is over acidic or under acidic, even just by looking at. So again, when we look into the iris, I've got a picture of your entire body right there in your eye represented. And that's the key thing about natural health, is we're looking at the whole body. Some of the, I don't know how to describe this type of person, but people that like to deal with just the, I have someone that likes to go get diagnosed by his doctor, and then he'll go and he'll do research. My doctor said I have this disease. I go research that disease. What do you commonly do for this disease? And I just feel like he's chasing dead ends because he's just looking at one part of that. That's where, for instance, let's say you have an issue on your hand. You have an infection in your hand, and you don't realize that the issue is coming from the rest of your body, from your blood. So you're like, what do I do to treat my hand? What cream should I put on here? What paste? How do I make this stop? What kind of, we get steroids, we suppress it. But until we deal with the rest of the body and what's going in there, we're still going to have this happening, even if we can suppress it enough that we don't see it. So that's the hard thing about chasing diseases, is you're not looking at the whole body. You have to treat the body as a whole. And so we can do that when we look in the eye, and we can see the whole picture of kind of what's going on. Iridology is also a really great tool to help me work with someone long distancely. So if you don't live close enough to come visit me at my store in Staten, you can take a clear, close picture of your eye, and I can provide you with some information in a consultation long distancely. I have found that Apple phones, they've got if you've got a newer one with a really great camera, you can probably take a close picture of your eye. It's helpful to do it away from windows so you don't have the glare of the window, and then use the flash, or if you can leave the flashlight on your phone on. That way it's shining a nice clear picture into the eye. Or there is a free app. It's a magnifying app that I found for my Android phone, and with that I can take really nice, and I'm just taking a picture really of like that much. So I'm like really zoomed in. You'll probably need assistance taking pictures of your eye. I was actually able to do it with a mirror that I had on a stand, and I stood there, and it was really hard because I used my free eye to look in the mirror to see what the camera was taking the picture of, and it took me about 20 shots of each eye, but I eventually got it so that I could read my eyes more easily. So I want to leave you with a couple of quotes tonight. One is from Hippocrates, who is known as the father of medicine. It is more important to know what sort of person has a disease than to know what sort of disease a person has. I feel that Dr. Jensen, who is one of the fathers of iridology, says it a little bit clearer when he says every disease is curable, but not every person. And what that means to me is, first off, if you are in natural health, you believe that if it's a disease, it's absolutely curable. Your body is made, unless there has been damage done to the organ where it's deformed, or it's created abnormalities, but the disease itself, what's going on, what's causing the issues, can be stopped. The body can heal. You just have to be willing and wanting to put in that time and effort to take care of yourself, to change your lifestyle. Then your body can heal. So every disease is curable, but not every person is curable, because some of us just refuse to give up the things that are bad for us. Some of us refuse to swallow a capsule. It's a hassle to swallow a pill. We don't like taking pills, so we won't take herbs. So just think about that and your mindset towards your health. Are you willing to do what needs to be done? If you would like to work with me, you can send me a Facebook private message to book a consultation. You can book me online at mytime.com/where-to-start and then the number 2. Or you can email me at wtsnaturalhealth@yahoo.com. That stands for where to start, WTS. And our giveaway for those of you that are watching live. So if you RSVP'd to the video or in the event, when I make these events, if you RSVP, you get an entry into the giveaway for the evening. Or if you are watching and you drop a comment, that's all you have to do to be entered. And I'll give you about the next 24 to 36 hours to drop your comments and be entered into the drawing. Tonight's free product that we're giving away is a sample of Anxious List. This is really great for situational anxiety. It helps ease anxiety without drowsiness. Helps with confidence and security, improves mood to reduce fatigue. It's non-habit forming. Let me tell you, I was having a day when I was out of my mind. I was anxious. I didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't know how to prioritize and get the things done that I needed to do. And a colleague said, "Don't you have some Anxious List?" And I said, "Yeah." And she's like, "All right, go take some. I'll wait." So I was talking to her on the phone. We were doing a FaceTime. And so I went and I took it. About 20 minutes later, it's like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. I'm so much calmer. I only took one. There's 2 in here. You can take up to 2. So there's 2 little tablets. It explains all the ingredients, which are all natural. Of course, I would not be presenting this to you if it wasn't good for you. So now you know a little bit of some of the assessments that are at my disposal when you work with me, and a little bit more maybe about your body. So I want to thank you all for watching and have a blessed day.